Welcome back to the BSH Brief. I'm your host, Caden Friess, and today we're joined by someone who's a true pillar of support here at Ben High. Whether you need his help staying on track for graduation, navigating life's curveballs, or just someone to talk to, he's always there with an open door and an open heart. He's the leader of Cross Cultural Club, champions students to success, and lifts up every student who walks through their door. Please welcome Mr. Wetherale.
Hi, thank you.
Okay, and then we have two lovely student guests helping us out today. Can you please introduce yourselves?
Hello, my name's Kyla and I'm a senior here at Ben High.
And I'm Quincy Bernal, and I'm also a senior here at Ben High.
Boom. All right. Well, let's jump right into it, Mr. Wetherale. Why don't we just get to know you a little bit? Who is Mr. Wetherale? Whether it's like your family, your past, your education, we just want to know you a little bit.
Okay, so I think I'm in my 26th year of teaching.
Okay.
Family, that's a weird question for me. I have a Labrador. He's very cute.
Love dogs.
I have an ex-foster son. I'm single.
Okay.
And I live with my dog.
That's amazing.
It is, yeah.
What did you study? If you studied.
If I did.
You know, I never want to assume, you know?
I have a bachelor's degree from the University of Oregon in political science and a master's in special education. So I was a special education teacher for how long? Almost 20 years.
That's amazing.
Yeah. How did I not know you went to UofO?
I don't know. My diplomas are on the wall.
I know, it's hanging up in his office, just right there.
I guess I'm observant.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Did you ever do anything in the political field, whether teaching or?
Nope, I haven't.
Actually, but you know, you have the knowledge at least.
I suppose. I do vote, so.
Hey, there you go. Yeah. That's valuable. That is valuable. And now you're the graduation coach at Ben High.
I am.
What's that like?
It's actually a really fun job. It has a lot of flexibility.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of my target audience is historically underserved students. So just, and you know, looking at those graduation rate numbers, things like that. So I get to work with like these two who are stellar and amazing and off to college or off to better things, new and exciting things. And then I work with kids who are really struggling and kids who are houseless and, you know, kids who have significant struggles in their lives that are often no fault of their own.
Of course. And like what kind of supports are you able to like offer them? Is it guidance? Is it like actual physical supports? I don't even know how to ask. But like
I would say most of my supports are academic.
Okay.
So whether it's time management, organization, just helping them like figure out what they need to do and how to move forward to earn their credits.
Yeah.
You know, as a teacher, I really do care about learning. So
Okay.
that's kind of I really want kids to leave us knowing how to read and to write well and to hopefully do some math. But yeah, so I spend a lot of my day doing academic support and helping kids communicate and just, I'm a pretty big nag. I'm good at nagging kids to get to school and
In the best way possible, though.
in the best way. Yeah. I mean, if I'm like mean and ornery with kids, they're not going to come to school.
Of course.
They need a reason to be here.
Yeah.
Not a reason not to be here.
And do people usually find themselves coming to you like senior year and they're like, oh shoot, I'm not about to graduate? Or are there people who are really coming to you in like the earlier years of high school?
A little bit of both. So I do work with ninth graders as well. That's a big part of the grad coach job. So I do a couple of bear times. So I get to know, and minor intervention bear times. So they're students who have struggled some their freshman year.
Yeah.
So I get to know those guys, and then I kind of follow them as they make their way through high school. And then I look at lots of data. So I look at lists and grades and attendance, and then I identify kids who might need some extra support. I work with counselors. So some of the counselors, they'll hand me students and say, hey, can you check on these 5 kids and just help them keep moving forward.
That's really cool. I mean, that is a valuable position to have at Ben High.
It's all the high schools have it. Actually, it's really strange. We all do very different things from school to school, but with the same target.
Same goal. Goal. Do you ever meet with the other graduation coaches to share tips?
Yeah, we meet about every other month.
Okay.
And then that's exactly what we do. Like, what are you doing? And what are you doing? And what's working? And what's not working? And yeah.
That's really, really cool. And then I guess if you want to give like the students a piece of advice, whether it's like, come see me, even if you're doing fine, like should everyone come and see you, or should it be like freshmen, come see me, or
anybody can come see me.
Anybody. Yep. And it's going to be valuable.
Of course.
Of course.
I mean, he does complain sometimes if there are too many people in his office because it's small and people generate heat. But
just too popular.
It was a little hot yesterday.
He still appreciates your presence nonetheless.
There were 10 seniors in there.
Oh.
But it's good because that way people are there, they're focused, they're working, and that's the goal. If they sit at a table out in the cafeteria where they don't have a little supervision, sometimes they don't get as much done.
Yeah.
And that's not a kid thing. That's a human thing.
Of course.
Because if you take a room full of teachers and tell them to just go off and do their own thing, I promise they're not going to be as productive as if they have just a little bit of supervision.
That's really true. All right, well, Kyla, this episode kind of had a guided subject. You want to tell us a little bit about this subject?
Yeah, so we wanted to talk about Cross Cultural Club a little bit because Mr. Wetherald is our advisor. He's been a great support over the past, for a long time. How many years have you been advising Cross Cultural Club? Because I've only been here for 4 years.
I'm
so.
guessing about 7 or 8.
Wow.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we basically Cross Culture Club, we try to foster a community of just welcoming, like inclusivity and highlighting different students and just their cultures and giving them a voice and an opportunity to just share about who they are and really just provide this platform for all students to come and celebrate different cultures and kind of connect and build these like fun relationships through our differences. So May is Asian American Pacific Islander Heritage Month, and so I identify as Filipino American, and I feel like heading into Bend High as a freshman, Mr. Wetherald really provided like this opportunity for me. Like I feel like I was really welcomed by your presence, and I felt empowered to be able to make change and like be able to share about myself because of your welcomeness and your just your leadership as an advisor of Cross Cultural Club. So, thank you. It was kind of like nerve-wracking coming into high school, but I feel like with your guidance, I was able to make an impact. And so, especially during May, I feel like we've been able to have like videos on the video announcements about what AAPI month is. And so we're just trying to spread the word and make it more aware to other students that Cross Cultural Club exists and that all people are welcome.
Quincy, you're a part of Cross Culture Club as well.
Yeah. I don't know if Kyla mentioned this already, but she's one of the leaders of Cross Cultural Club.
Boom.
It's a little important. I am too, but
flex.
she's
Also
little bit,
flex.
She's a bit more of a senior leader of Cross Cultural Club, but Cross Cultural Club for me, I started going in freshman year because I heard of it, and I'm Vietnamese American, but I'm adopted, so I really wanted to learn more about like world culture, but also a little bit of my own. And I thought Cross Cultural Club would be a great platform for that. And I've been going ever since. And since becoming a leader, I've kind of felt that Cross Cultural Club really fosters just an inclusive community, and it really uplifts some voices in our school that would otherwise be a little bit that would have a hard time finding their own platform elsewise. And for that, I think it's really powerful. But I think something that is also really powerful is the origins of Cross Cultural Club, which I can probably pass over to Mr. Wetherald if he's okay sharing.
The origin story.
Ooh.
Yes.
Yeah.
Do tell.
So I just first for our leaders sitting here, it's been really fun to watch them grow into the adults they are today. Over the last 4 years, Kyla is ever curious and interested and engaged in other people's stories, and we all have our own way to engage in different culture and learning about things. Quincy is on language number what?
6.
Yeah.
Can you list the languages? What?
It's not as impressive as he makes it sound.
Yes,
It sounds impressive.
It's impressive.
Yeah.
Because I can speak English and Japanese fluently. I speak conversational Spanish and Korean. I speak a little bit of French, and then I'm working on like some Mandarin Chinese.
That's insane.
Woo.
No, that's insane.
Yes.
Good job, Quincy.
And you have strong restaurant Vietnamese.
Well, yeah, but it's a restaurant.
But it's a good start. And in a year from now, he'll be fluent in French.
Oh my gosh. Dude, he's locked in.
He is, yes.
Very
So,
impressive.
origin story. It was 2013. It was an election year. And it was a difficult election year, and there were lots of strong feelings on both sides. It was kind of when the both sides thing really started. So we had a couple young ladies sitting in the cafeteria at lunch one day, and they were silently protesting one of the candidates in the election.
Is this at Bend High?
Uh-huh.
Okay.
And they had a little sign, and they were well within their rights. They were doing no harm, causing no disruption. It wasn't interrupting learning. Exactly what we want students to do when they're protesting, and they were sending their message, and it was great. They kind of got surrounded by a group of boys in boots, and who started chanting "Build the Wall." Super intimidating for these young women, who were both young white women. But a table of Latino kids witnessed this. And so they went to see Mr. Davis, who was one of our counselors back then. And they said, "We don't think we want to graduate from Bend High." And they were juniors. And they were engaged. Like they were good students. They wanted to be at Bend High. This is their community. They felt included. But they witnessed this and then kind of the outcome of it. And they're like, "We just don't know if we want to be here anymore." And so Mr. Davis, in his wisdom, said, if that's what you want to do, if you want to be someplace else, we can certainly talk about that, and I can help you that if that's really your goal. But what else could we do? And so they decided to start the Cross-Cultural Club as a way to help students come together and learn about each other. And it's like, yes, we all have differences, but we have a lot of similarities. So that was the beginning. It's interesting. Back then, it was mostly Latino students, and today it's not. It's a much more diverse group, and actually, Latino students are some of the students we're missing right now. So we keep talking about it. How do we lure them back and make them feel like this is a place for their voices as well? Because we don't have another Latino club, and the two young people who started the club, they didn't want a Latino club or a Latinx club, and they'd been up at COCC and seen what their club does, and they liked that, but they really wanted it to focus on bringing people together. So
That's an amazing story. That's unbelievable. What does a daily meeting look like for a cross-cultural club?
Well, it depends on the day. I don't do it.
It varies.
It's up to these guys. They're the ones who they run it all.
Yeah, so we kind of we try to highlight different cultures. I feel like it actually now that I think about it, it shifted a lot from like our meetings my underclassmen years to what it is now. Not necessarily good or bad, but I mean, yeah, mostly good things. It's we kind of highlight like different months that are happening or just things to try to make people more aware of just what's happening in the community and the world. Like, for example, we celebrate AAPI month, which is May, and then Black History Month, which is February. Yeah, and just kind of, yeah, we try to get other students to also share about their cultures. So we had, like, Leah Craven. She shared about the Passover recently. And, yeah, so it varies a lot, but like my underclassmen years, we really had it more like a safe place where we would talk. Like we'd have probably just how many? I mean, it was kind of bigger, but we had like maybe 20 to 30 students. We'd sit in a circle and just talk about what's happening. Like go around in a circle, share something about our experiences, and it felt a little more like personal, and we were talking about like justice more and like how we can kind of be more activists in just the community about like culturalism and giving voice to minorities. So now it's more sharing about cultures and kind of more celebratory, but we kind of want to find a mix of this. And we're trying to foster some younger leadership and people in our club right now to take on the roles, since Quincy and I will be graduating. But yeah, if you want to share anything else about what we do.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's just something to be said that we don't have to focus as much on the activism and the sharing our story part. Although at Bend High, obviously, you can never say that, racism and acts of hate disappear. That in recent years, our culture as a school has been going up. And so we felt less of a need to really vent our stories out there because we have kind of this internet community of like supporting people. And so it kind of became celebratory as a result of that. But I do think there's still, there should always still be a space for people to share and feel included. But at the same time, it is pretty fun to have activities, dances, celebrations, and sharing of culture, which is what we typically do on a weekly basis at the club. And it just ends up being fun for everyone involved. And it's kind of just a way to get people together and a way to get people like thinking about the world around them, especially as more and more we're becoming more connected with each other on a global scale. So that's why I think, each meeting at Cross Cultural Club every week kind of holds a special power.
And another big part of our club is hosting workshops. Unfortunately, we weren't able to do as many this year, but in previous years, we've done an interrupting harm workshop. So this is provided to all students. This is a good way for us to also promote our club. A lot of students attend these who aren't usually attenders of our lunch meetings. But the interrupting harm workshop, we just teach about how to stand up to discrimination or racism, and trying to give students just the resources and tools to feel empowered to stand up to just microaggressions or things that they see in the community. And whether they take this and like actually use it in the world is just a good way to show that like you have a voice, and kind of empower students, and just show them that other people are trying to do good in the world as well. And then the workshops that we do on belonging, this is a super fun opportunity for students to network, meet other students that they usually wouldn't in their classes, and just share their stories and be in a safe place where we all just kind of collectively celebrate one another and just meet people. Yeah.
Do we have any idea of who the future leaders of Cross Cultural Club are? Can we give a shout out, or is it a secret until next year?
We typically have a diverse like leadership panel, I want to say, and we have a couple that aren't seniors on that panel, but we are looking to fill. We're looking to fill our spots as we leave, and we'll be hosting interviews and whatnot in the future. So look forward to the new leaders.
Once we decide what that process is going to look like.
Yes.
Yes.
I guess
Yeah.
we're running out of days.
We're almost to the end. We're almost to the end. We only have like 3 more weeks.
Wow. Yeah. We do have some prospect students. Should I give them a shout out? Possibly my sister, Sierra Guerrero. She should, and Kai Delakia. Want you to be leaders. But of course we have lots of students. Also Tamara Spalding, students who just come every week and are very involved and engaged and have the same passion and motive just to spread Cross Culture Club for what it is. So.
And what weekdays and where do you meet?
Yeah, we meet every Wednesday in, usually Perseverance Hall during lunch, or during IB testing in Miss Bowerman's room, D101.
Okay, pull up to Cross Cultural Club. We only got a few more left.
For this year.
For this year, yeah. Watch out next year.
Yes.
Watch out next year. Okay. Well, as the graduation coach, we're almost at graduation, so it might be like a too late situation if you haven't gotten on top of it. But is there any last minute things that you can tell the students, hey, do this?
Oh, yeah.
Like, because we're almost out of time. This is your PSA to the students right now.
Yeah. Go to class and communicate with your teachers, because teachers are much more willing to give you that gift at the end if they've seen your face recently, and if you actually talk to them. And they're not that scary. Most of our teachers are pretty darn nice, and
They really are.
and they're willing to work with you. I would say all of our teachers want students to do well.
I can agree with that. Yeah, the senioritis definitely starts kicking in.
Yes, it's a tragic illness.
It really is. It's affected me deeply.
Actually, me too.
I did not make it to school yesterday.
You guys are hiding it well. Good job.
Oh, thank you. We got to put on the show. Okay, so talk to your teachers. Anything else? That's the main one. Show up.
Right now, yep.
Talk to
and it's hard. The sun's coming out.
And
Senior assassin is in full swing.
Full swing. We have about 60 people left, I think. Wow. Yeah.
And it's really fun.
It really is.
But it's not very fun if that's the reason you don't graduate.
Yeah. This is not the time.
Or get to walk at graduation, which is, I think it's a big deal. It's a rite of passage. We don't have a lot of those.
Long blue line.
In American culture, like, it's
something that everyone does, like truly.
Yep. And it's that taking that step into the next part of your lives as adults, which is, for me, that's the most fun part of my job.
Yeah.
I get to hear from Quincy next year, and he's going to tell me how Montreal is, and Kyla's going to, send me pictures if she's in India or Costa Rica or the Philippines, wherever she lands.
Yes.
So I love that stuff.
That's amazing. Yeah. It's pretty unbelievable that it's almost here and people are really going to start leaving. It sounds like you're leaving. You're going Korea and Japan. Is this the word?
It is, yeah. I get to take a group of high school and middle school students. When do we leave? June 23rd. We're going for 11 days. And I haven't been in Korea since I lived there about almost 30 years ago. Wow. So it's been a long time. Yeah. And I haven't been in Japan in 15 years.
What's that trip going to look like? Like, is it very educational?
So they say. I've never, it's through EF Tours, which I I've never done an EF tour. I hear they keep us very busy.
Okay.
And it's not my typical kind of travel. It's lots of movement and going from place to place to place. But I hear great things. And my nephew's done 3 or 4 of these kinds of trips, and he's enjoyed almost all of them. So almost. Well, there were fires in Southeast Asia one year. So
not ideal.
That was not ideal.
No. And so your name, Mr. Wetherald, right? How does the puns affect you? Is it often? Because Mr. Fox made a pun as we walked in.
What did he say?
He said Mr. Weatherbald.
Oh yeah, that's a good one. And it's pretty appropriate.
I mean, Wetherald, like you got some. There's a lot of room to work with pun wise. Does this happen to you a lot?
It does. Yeah,
it does,
and it's okay. It's all in good fun.
Yeah.
I do have to help people sometimes.
Give them ideas.
Well, no, I just have to correct them because I used to teach reading, and so somebody saw I was wearing a sweatshirt that said Wetherald on the back, and an older gentleman said, "What does Wetherald mean?"
Oh,
and then I had to explain that in the English language, when you see a T and an H together, we don't separate those letters.
No,
they make a sound, and so I gave him a reading lesson.
Okay.
So every once in a while, you get a telemarketer calling. They call you Mr. Wetherald.
You have to enlighten them. So you used to teach English?
No, reading as a special ed teacher. Yeah,
okay, right.
So corrective reading. So for kids with learning disabilities who didn't learn to read at the same rate and level as their peers, I would work with them to get them caught up.
Did you teach that here?
A little bit here, mostly in middle school.
Okay. Yeah.
Most high school kids are kind of not super excited about going to an extra reading class.
Yeah. Understandable. Yeah, my brother also was special needs and took some extra reading classes and whatnot. And like, so over your 20 years ish of teaching that, what did that like ever evolve and like you learn new and like what's new now or,
I've actually been listening to a podcast.
Okay. Do tell.
Called Told a Story. So anybody out there who's interested in reading instruction and the impact of politics on public school curriculum, really, really interesting. I did hear from one of my downtown colleagues that while the podcast is kind of picking on the politics of reading over the past 30 years, there's definitely a curriculum agenda within the podcast that they don't acknowledge. So, but it is really interesting, and just watching the evolution of reading. And I'm a Oregon Duck, and that's kind of where some direct instruction reading was invented. Okay. So it's a lot of finger snapping and repetition, but it works. So not necessarily the most fun thing, but
necessary.
It is necessary, yeah.
And like reading wise, I mean, I think it's obvious. Is it just read more and you'll be a better reader? Is that really?
Read more for sure, but you have to have the tools.
Yeah.
I mean, if you can't decode words, then it's pretty hard to get through a novel by yourself, especially if English is your second language, especially if you haven't had a lot of exposure to vocabulary. When you come to a new word, if you can't decode it to start with, because sometimes you decode it, it's like, oh, I know that word. I've heard that before.
Yeah.
But other times, if it's completely unfamiliar, if it's a science word or, more of a content-based word, you need help learning that vocabulary.
Yeah, totally. And what about even just like high schoolers who maybe don't read that much? Like even myself, like does that truly affect your reading if you're not like, I cannot say that I'm the biggest book reader. And like sometimes I read, I'm like, I feel like I should have done better there. I'm gonna be honest, or even I guess reading out loud. What can you say about reading out loud?
I love reading out loud.
And like,
then you get intonation and you're more telling a story. For some people, hearing it and seeing it, it's helpful for their comprehension.
How can you improve on that skill? Because sometimes I do it and, you kind of stumble over yourself, but then you read it silently and it's like flawless.
It's just practice.
Just read out loud more and then you get better and better.
I mean, if you want to look at the research behind it, repeated readings. So take the same passage and read it multiple times because that'll help improve a person's fluency.
Yeah. Amazing. Okay. Well, I'll ask you, because I always like to ask just faculty, do you have any questions for us as students? Maybe as representatives of the student body of Ben High, idea like
Mr.
Whatever you can think of.
So I think within our school district and a small faction within our school, there's a big push to get more student voice into decision making. So Quincy was on our district student voice council. And we met once a month, and they present to the school board every month. I think that's a work in progress. The hope is next year at Bend High to have a student voice council that will meet with administrators at least once a quarter, just to hear from you all what's going well in your school? What are you concerned about? What can we do better? I mean, I from my perspective, you guys are our customers. And so how can we better serve you? And that doesn't mean, just say things to make you happy and the better coffee. Hey, the coffee machine's broken, by the way.
We are working on that.
Okay, because I was there to get coffee today. And
We're so sorry.
pretty heartbroken.
It'll be out until next
that
school
I
year.
could only have a Celsius.
Oh, Celsius.
Just kidding. I don't
You're
drink Celsius.
supporting the Java Bear.
I know, that's true.
At least you stopped by. Not,
Yeah, I
not
did. I
can't
tried.
say many teachers do that.
Oh.
I'm gonna be honest.
It's good coffee now. That's
Thank you.
Thank you.
Simply organic, right? Strictly organic.
Strictly organic, yes.
So the good stuff.
I thought we were doing Sisters.
No.
It's strictly organic.
Strictly organic.
Okay. That's what I drink at home.
There we go.
Yep. So good job
We're not
supporting.
skimping on the
supporting
coffee.
local business.
Oh yeah,
Nice job.
always.
So yeah, I would like to hear from you guys. Like, you guys have been here for 4 years. What's been good? What can we do better? And I mean, I think you're all, I don't know you very well yet, but you all seem like pretty high achieving students. So I think academically we've served you well. What could we do better?
That's a great question.
Okay, we're starting with the Student Voice Council member.
Yes. Also, before we even get into your answer, can we hear a little bit about that and when you did that?
Yeah.
Or are you still doing it?
technically?
Technically.
My term's kind of over, but I did it from the second half of sophomore year up until just a couple weeks ago, and it was kind of a way for each of the high schools to have representatives to advise the school board on like, hey, what's happening in schools, and did this policy that you rolled out, is it going well? Are there things that maybe need to look over? That kind of stuff. And it's new, and it was enacted by the district, so there are a lot of road bumps and potholes to go over, but I think it's going to smooth itself out into a really nice system that really allows like students to represent themselves and their school and their constituents to the school board and tell them, hey, this isn't working. Maybe look over this, or hey, this really like enacted positive change in the schools. We should consider this. Or what I think was maybe most powerful was some schools that have varying policies were like, hey, this really works in our school. If you're having this problem in your school, maybe let's maybe see what we're doing well in some schools and how we can use that to improve others. And kind of the whole like, hey, we're a district. Everyone should feel empowered and ready to learn and succeed no matter where they go in the district. And for me, the most impactful part of the Student Voice Council actually was to like meet just all sorts of people from the other high schools across the district and kind of learn where we're all at. So that's the rundown of the Student Voice Council. I almost buried the lead there. To answer the question, to answer Wetherald's question, like, hey, what do we want to see in schools? I think there's a lot of things the school does well. I mean, Ben High is often praised for its culture and for its
school spirit
and whatnot. But there's always I can sometimes feel like it is used to bury the idea that sometimes bias does happen, and we need to recognize and point it out when it does. And we've done a good, I don't know how to say good job. I want to say that the bias QR code was a step towards, hey, you have a space to share if something happens to you. But the school spirit as a whole has kind of moved towards we're a positive, uplifting community, and bias, if it happens, is rare and uncommon and unheard of. And I want there to be this middle ground of, hey, we support an uplifting culture, but we are here for you to support you in the event that a bias incident does happen, which we do not tolerate in any way, shape, or form. And that's my ideal.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Kind of on the topic of bias and like just what we've kind of done with Cross Cultural Club as well, and trying to see what the district's been trying to do with the whole bias thing. I feel like we have gotten a lot of support, and I feel like Quincy said, Ben High is really known for developing a good culture, and I feel like it really starts with our faculty being very supportive of students. So I feel like that's one thing that Ben High does great. But something that I feel like we lack a little bit is kind of these opportunities to learn more about each other. Like Cross Culture Club, it's a great thing, but I feel like our faculty just has kind of a lack of understanding of really what we're trying to do in our mission. For example, like when we're promoting our interrupting harm workshops, they're supportive of it, and it is hard to try to squeeze in like something outside of the actual school curriculum when obviously teachers have their set things. But I feel like when we have these opportunities to go above and beyond to create a school culture, I feel like those things should really be highlighted and more just prioritized in kind of just the schedule of our school and over the course of the year. Unfortunately, we were planning an interrupting harm workshop, which didn't fully come through for we didn't get to finish it because we didn't have enough signups and people just weren't as interested, which I think that it was hard because we didn't have as much support from the teachers to tell students like this is really important and this type of thing is what's helping our school community just to better understand one another so we can prevent these bias incidents and for example, just the Cross Culture Club workshops and having more support from, I think, faculty and staff.
Yeah, I think sometimes there's a fear out there, and feelings are valid. If we talk about this heavy, what some people would consider negative stuff, then that's that will like perseverate, and that will become the focus, and it won't be rah long blue line. And it's like I think it's possible to do both. It's okay to, no matter what organization you're in, whether it's your family to a huge organization, it's okay to acknowledge the things that are going well, the things that you're doing well, the things you're good at. But it's also okay to say, where can we improve?
Yeah.
And I think looking at district bias data, the district, all the bias reports go to the district office first. They get very few from Bend High, very few, like almost none. And part of me, like a little Pollyanna inside of me, is, well, maybe that's a good thing because maybe the incidence is kind of low and maybe people feel connected enough to a person here that they would go talk to a person and they wouldn't feel the need to do a QR code and get outside support. So whether, somebody comes and talks to me or they go talk to their counselor or they go talk to Mrs. Bullock, whoever, that's my hope. But I know things happen daily where people are just like, oh, well, that just happened and there's really nothing I can do about it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what we want to avoid.
So maybe just being a little more mentally aware, being like, when it happens, like think about that a little more. Just don't let it slide by. Go tell someone. Yeah. Be more conscious about it, really, is kind of the word.
Yep.
Yeah. And supporting our workshops and these events where we're trying to give students the confidence to stand up to these things. And
Yeah. Okay. Well, then my final question to you, Mr. Wetherald, is if you can give one piece of advice to the graduating class of 2025, what would it be?
Oh my gosh. So these days college is great and, it's a great option for lots of people. But whatever you decide to do in the future, we all have to earn money, I think. Very, very few of us have the kind of privilege that we just get to stay home and do whatever we want all day long. Whatever you decide to do, make sure you love doing it. Because if you have an 8-hour-a-day job, you need to make sure that is something that you're passionate about, that you want to wake up in the morning, you want to go do it. And if, being an electrician is a passion, that's great. Being a welder, that's great. Being a teacher, that's great. Be a doctor. I think Quincy's going to be a doctor.
I don't know about that.
We just don't know what kind yet.
Yes.
Money's important, but it can't be the only thing we think about.
Okay. That was amazing. Well, I kind of botched the intro, so let's try and do this outro. I've been your host, Caden Friess. Thank you for tuning in to the BSH Brief. Huge shout out to Mr. Wetherale for sharing their story and to our student guests for holding it down. Catch us next week with a new episode, new guests, and the same Lava Bear energy. Until next time, stay proud, stay classy, and stay brief, Bend High. It's a wrap, everybody. Thank you.
Oh, yeah.